Alright, welcome. We're gonna tear apart my front suspension and put on some new shiny front suspension. This is gonna be a 76 280 here, but we're gonna start with the front steering knuckle here, going to the tie rod. It turned out this is seized, so I spent about an hour and a half trying to get this undone with heat, hammers, gear pullers, everything you can name it, and it did not want to come out. Car is I'm the third owner when I bought it. It is the closest to a two-owner or a one-owner car as I could almost purchase, with the first owner owning it for only about 6 months before the second owner had it for 42 years. Something ridiculous like that. Now, you're also going to notice that there's a lot of rust on this car, at least some surface rust, even though this is a car that was kept in a garage every day. It was out of the rain every time it rained, and it was never driven in the snow. But since we live in New York, you can never get away from rust and salt, because if this thing is parked next to a car that goes out with some salt on it, it's going to dry up next to it, and it's going to be wonderful. You're going to get all this rust, like on this nice brake caliper here. A lot of dirt built up on this. I tried to scrape most of it away that I could, but I couldn't really get to most of it. It was a lot of grime on here. And plus everything else was coming off, so I didn't really feel the need to really preserve these bolts or scrub all these things clean. Oh, flip it around correct. There we go. Nice job. You can figure it out. Back over, get the other side of these bolts for it. I believe there's 3 in the bottom for it. Keep punching the stand, that's alright. Now this was... Oh, there's the tractor. Nice. So the sway bar link was probably the most frustrating part to get off of this thing. It has, the rubber bushings are just about seized to themselves, and also getting this thing off is the 2 inner parts of the end link there are welded onto it. So you can't just like take this thing off and then slide it off like you can like brand new ones or some aftermarket ones. But so this was, I'm gonna cut out the fight here. I'm just gonna show you me ripping off the rubber bushings. It'll be about it. Bottom came off pretty easy, but the middle 2 were really stuck on there. I think I actually had to end up cutting them out so I could get enough room for it to wiggle out. Oh, how about getting in frame there, buddy? There we go. Oh, and here, oh, where's your breaker bar? This was the best friend that I could ever have during this, because getting rusty bolts off are not fun. Although I don't think I broke a single bolt on this car, taking any of the parts off, which was kind of shocking considering that there was like a grime and rust. Although the grime probably protected it from all the all the salt and stuff. But part came off easy. Whole thing came off pretty easy. Oh, yep, still stuck on there. Alright, well, I'm gonna cut out the... Actually, I wish I kind of videoed it. The hour-and-a-half struggle that I had. Yep, it was me putting the phone down so I could get into it. And have an hour-and-a-half battle with this that I just ended up me just taking it off because I was gonna get new ones anyway, so it didn't really matter. This passenger side on this one came off a lot easier than the driver's side. The driver's side one had the rubber bushings for the control arm seized to the frame rail there, and it really didn't want to come out. It was actually like kind of having like it was like kind of sprung for it. Like you could push it back and the thing would just like bounce around and come off. So I had to pry it off with the pry bar. This one just, you can just take it out and it falls straight down. So that was a lot easier. How dirty those are. Even with the flare wrenches, I still rounded them over. So I just had to take I just ended up taking a vice grip and just cranking them off because these things were rounded as soon as I looked at it. Here I'm just gonna struggle pulling the brake line out. Make sure you have a cup underneath here because you're gonna get some brake fluid to drip all over the place, and you wouldn't want to ruin a nice garage floor like this one. Now, would you? We're gonna end up replacing all of this, all these brake lines, both the soft lines and the hard lines, so I can just put them wherever I want. I'll take them off later. We're going to try to take off the whole assembly here with it. And now I'm struggling to move around my my great floor jack that is probably 3 times older than I am. And it's only got 2 working wheels and 1 wheel that is completely broken. Who knows? Maybe at some point I get enough people to watch this where I can buy a new one. But who knows? Gotta jack it up so when I unbolt the 3 nuts up top, it'll just fall onto that and I can wheel it out pretty easily. Alright, let's just lower her down now. Oh, nice and controlled. We won't hit anything. Oh, hey, good catch. Hunk of crap out of the way. There we go. Drag it with its last 2 remaining wheels. Wouldn't want to damage it. Ah, yes, we got some rust going on here. It's gonna sound way worse than the rust is. Couple spots in here. You can see it's not too bad. Other place there is all firm and stuff, and nothing else would get knocked off. I'm gonna go ahead and brush this down. You can see it's already wet. I've sprayed this with muriatic acid. It's gonna kill the reaction for it. If you don't want to sit there with a whole spray bottle, you can just put some paper towel up, spray it. It'll stick to it. You can come back every half hour, spray it with some more. Just be patient with it, because it's probably going to take a couple hours for it to kill. Alright, now we got to do the classic YouTuber. Oh, That's for sure. Hit that.
Alright, so on the left we got the new stuff that's replacing this old stuff over here. So we got the Willwoods replacing the Sumitomos. Billet steering knuckle replacing this steering knuckle here that I couldn't get off of this steering rod. We got the old control arm, the old non-adjustable tie rod with the rubber bushings and the sway bar link. And then over here we got this is the new sway bar link, billet, control arm, the tie rod along with the new brake cables behind it. Oh, and let me not forget the coilover too. Everything but the coilover was from Arizona Z, and the coilover is from Techno. So there is the bolt off of the old control arm. And there's the one with the new one. The one that it came with is some odd size metric bolt, like 15.5 millimeter. They don't really make anymore, so this is 5/8. Why I have to drill a hole for the 5/8 bolt to go into.
All right, so I have a great lesson that I learned here is you don't need a bigger drill for some of these things. This thing, I had this, what is it, like a 1/4 horsepower drill here, and it just kept catching, and it just kept wanting to, like, tear my arm off. So, we'll see later on that I'm going to switch to a old cordless drill that, like, barely went through, but it didn't tear my arm off when I caught.
There it goes.
And now we're going to do the fun part. We're going to put all the shiny stuff on. These do have like a bias. One side's thicker than the other one, so I put the thicker side is going to the rear of the car, and the shorter one's going to the front of the car. You can change it if you want to change the suspension, but this is just the way that Arizona Z had described it. Hey, look at there. There's the finished rust for it after it had been killed. I've already sprayed that back over with undercoating, with some thin undercoating for it. Because even though this car is never going to see any salt or any water again, these like to be allergic to everything that's considered salt. Someone would probably get angry at a male driver or something driving by, and it's just rust on the spot. Got the steering knuckle on. Tie rod. Do like how it's gold. You know, it fits the aesthetic of what the wheels are going to be. I went with the Techno Toy tuning coilover here because this was the only one that was kind of sold that came with the spindle on it, so I didn't have to sacrifice the original spindle in case I want to either sell that or put it back on the car. That was the sole reason why I think I went with Techno Toy tuning, because the Arizona Z made you sacrifice your old ones. Here's the most frustrating part about putting these things on. This stupid pin. Took me about 20 minutes to get in here. Nice job. And we're going to wrestle with this bolt for the next 20 minutes here, because this thing didn't want to thread in at first. Do yourself a favor and don't pack bearings by hand. Go to AutoZone, buy one off of Amazon, who cares? Just buy one of these bearing packers. They are one of the best things I think I've ever bought. And instead of getting dirty and wasting extra grease, you can just, push down a little bit hard and it's perfectly packed. Look at that. No time at all. Put some grease on the inside here. Don't do too much. You don't want it to spill out. Just a little bit here. It'll all get covered once that bearing starts to move.
Well blocked up front. Well blocked up front by Seattle. They led the way for DJ Dallas to hit the end zone. There's the extra point. 69 degrees. It is ridiculous to be this nice, this sunny, this warm. Misses Bills fans that cannot get in this.
Slides on over the top here. You're gonna put your
Enough there, though.
Pushing down.
put the front bearing in.
You're like pushing up on it.
So it required a little bit extra hands there. It's kind of awkward to push in. It's all right. Here, when you make sure it's gonna track straight, you're gonna want to unloosen and then tighten as you spin it. You should feel it fitting right into a groove. Make sure to put your castle nuts on. Put the pins right in. Don't want those things backing out.
I mean, almost instantaneously as the ball was gone, and it set him up for that. Buffalo gets into third and long once again. 3rd and 7.
Brakes come with some oil on it to protect it from rusting. You spray that off. Probably should have left the oil on because this sat over winter and now they're a little rusty. But that's all right. They'll just come off whenever I step on the brakes. All right, so these are 4-piston wheel woods. You can get a 6-piston one from Arizona Z, but this has like no power in it right now. So we're just gonna do the 4 pistons. If you want to stay with the project, please subscribe. I'll be posting a video at least one a week. Next one up is the rear suspension.